topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from experts on such topics as legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to our experts in community association law, estate planning law, tax relief, Medicare, public insurance adjusters, neuropathy treatment, business brokers, and personal injury law, along with many other topics. Now here's your host for the last 17 years, Steve O.
In Arizona, welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we actually bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Several years ago, when we started doing this show, our show is on neuropathy today, and I did not realize that there are so many people suffering from neuropathy. And also, I didn't understand there was a lot of people who were told by their doctor that there's not much they can do for them. We found Dr. Patrick Zars. He has a clinic in the Arizona area. It's called Neuropathy Treatment Center of Arizona. And I have learned so much from him. And I guess by the amount of questions that we've had coming in already for his show, this is just a very popular show. Good afternoon, Dr. Zars.
Good afternoon, Steve.
I got to tell you, there are not very many specialists when it comes to neuropathy in the whole country that understand neuropathy the way you do.
Well, I've been dealing with it for 18 years that I've been treating patients, and watched my mom go through it for 32, 33 years. So got some firsthand knowledge on how bad it could actually be.
Well, that's actually why you got into it, was because of your mom, right?
It was that my mom had, when my dad passed away, my brother and I discovered that my parents had spent basically a small fortune on a lot of things that didn't give her really any help, and realized basically that if we could find something that actually could help people, it would help, not only help them, but save them a vast amount of money, because truly my parents spent thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars over a 20-year period of time before I got out of school.
I've got a guy who loves watching your show. He's going into chiropractic care, and he wanted to know how come there aren't more schools that teach neuropathy in the chiropractic area.
Basically, what you're going to find is that just going through chiropractic college in itself, when you get into it, you'll be busy enough. These are some things that you'll learn after you get out, going to various different seminars from that point forward. But like with my chiropractic college, so when I went on 40 years ago, it was 4 years. They've actually extended that out now so that it's a little bit more than 4 years now. I will guarantee you that you really won't have a whole heck of a lot of time. Otherwise, the classes when I was going started at 7:30 in the morning. You went pretty much straight through until 4 each day, and then you had to figure out how you could learn what you were just told that day. So you've got enough to think about. It'll be there when you get out.
I got you. Well, I got to tell you, this first of all, because I'm looking at TikTok, and we've already got 1,000 people watching just on TikTok. We don't get the YouTube numbers until the next couple of days. But for all these new people, tell them about your practice, Patrick.
I'm located in Mesa, Arizona. That the practice itself has evolved throughout the years. That I was naive basically when I started 18 years ago, or a little bit more than that now, thinking that I could actually have a cure for neuropathy. Straightforward, there is no cure for neuropathy. That does not mean that there is not help. We can actually reverse the neuropathy, but neuropathy is a secondary disease. There is always an underlying cause, and we're not necessarily dealing with the cause. And so, because of that, we need to continue to keep treating the neuropathy. It is done basically without doing any medications, surgeries, or injections. And it is one that we actually have evolved to a point where it is now done at home. As I said, when I first started, we did it in office because I was naive, thinking I was curing neuropathy. Found out by doing a survey of past patients that we only had a treatment for it, and that's all that is still out there. No one has a cure for neuropathy. I know that you can say you'll find things on the internet that they have a cure for neuropathy. They don't. At best, there are treatments that will work, but it is something that you will have to continue to keep doing for the rest of your life, the way things are set up at this time. But of course, with AI and all the things that we're learning at this, there may be some tremendous advancements here in the not too distant future. But as it stands right now, we would actually have to cure the cause with over 100 identified causes, and people, basically 35 to 40% of people having idiopathic neuropathy, where we know you got it, we don't know the cause. All we can do is treat the neuropathy.
Hey, Dr. SARS, I want to compliment you on some. I get letters and I feel the same way. People love your honesty about this because there are doctors out there who'll say, "Oh yeah, we can treat it," and they put you on medication, which really doesn't help at all. And you're just so honest about what you can do, about your success, and I just want to thank you for that.
Well, I'm actually in the process of writing a book, and so but I'm from a really small town in eastern Montana originally. When I say small, I'm talking 650 people. So you kind of relied on your neighbors, and you knew who you could and who you couldn't, and that was how I was raised. And so I'm not going to change now. That lying to you doesn't do any good. Because it's going to come back and bite you. So I try to be as straightforward as I possibly can. A lot of people don't necessarily believe me when I tell them that they're going to have to continue to keep treating the neuropathy, but they learn.
Well, we've got so many people who've written in questions. Let me get started with Ron in Gilbert, Arizona. Wants to know, how do 2026 diagnostic algorithms distinguish carpal tunnel from neuropathy?
Basically, what you're looking at is that you're looking at two different things entirely. Neuropathy, the way that we're looking at it, is actually a disease process that is affecting the sensory nerves. Carpal tunnel, what we're looking at is that we're actually looking at compression of the medial, radial, and ulnar nerve as it's going through the wrist by the carpals, which basically there are 8 carpals in the wrist that basically 4 rows of bone, or 2 rows of bones, 4 each, that puts abnormal pressure on that. In the diagnostic is actually done basically by looking at whether or not the signals of the nerves going through are causing a decrease in some of the sensation or the electrical impulse. And that's basically what we're looking at. An EMG will determine whether or not it's carpal tunnel. An EMG it's not as reliable to determine whether or not that it's neuropathy. That when we're dealing with actual true peripheral neuropathy, where the sensory nerves are involved at the skin level, an EMG is about 60% reliable. For carpal tunnel, that reliability is up in the high 90 percentile.
This is from Larry. This is from TikTok. He said, "I just found your show just now. I am so glad there is a show about this." He said, "I think my mother is suffering from neuropathy. Are there any other health issues that mimic neuropathy?"
Well, yes, that peripheral artery disease can actually mimic it. Both of them will have an effect. Um, Basically, neuropathy, in the vast majority of cases, there's a decrease of oxygen to the nerve endings and causes the cells at the ends of the nerve to actually die off. In peripheral artery disease, basically will decrease the amount of oxygen that can actually get to the tissues, and it actually can over time actually cause neuropathy to develop. But initially you may have some of the same symptoms just due to the fact that it starves that loss of oxygen irritates the heck out of the nerves, and so you'll get some very similar symptoms but the nerves themselves are actually still intact.
I got to tell you, we have like a whole different audience today. I'm looking at some of these questions, Patrick, that we've never had before. But I know right now someone is listening or watching the show and they're going, I wonder if I have neuropathy. Tell people, for people who never heard the show before, what kind of symptoms are they going to be looking at to see if maybe they do have neuropathy?
Symptomatically, a lot of time, most of the time, it's going to start with numbness. And
Where?
what you will primarily in the feet, sometimes in the hands. As I said, neuropathy starts basically due to the fact of a loss of oxygen to the nerve endings. That compromise in the oxygen can be of a number of different factors, but generally it will start farthest away from the heart and the lungs due to the fact that if there is a compromise in the amount of oxygen, we'll utilize it in our more vital areas, so that more in our torso, so that it keeps us alive. Symptomatically, you'll start to develop some numbness, maybe some burning, start some sharp shooting pains occasionally. One of the easiest things that you can do to see whether or not you're actually developing it, because it does affect the sensory nerves, is taking a knife from a flatware set with a metal handle. If you touch that to your forehead, it'll feel too cool to the touch at room temperature. Do the same thing and put it on the top of your toe. If everything is normal as far as the nerve endings go, you'll feel that cool to the same intensity on that big toe as you did on your forehead. If there's a significant difference, there's a good possibility that you're actually starting to lose some of the sensory nerves in that big toe. That's a pretty good indication. You can also do the same thing with a hairdryer, on blowing warm air on your forehead, not hot, but warm. We're not trying to burn you. And do the same thing on the toe. You should feel at the same intensity. Again, if there's a diminishment, and particularly a significant one, then the odds are that you are actually developing neuropathy.
Here's Mark and Chandler said, my mother fell in the shower after listening to several of your shows. Do you think it could be because she lost her balance due to neuropathy?
It's a possibility. The thing is with neuropathy, because it does affect the sensory nerves, those nerves at the sole of the foot will actually recede deeper into the tissue. And so you're not necessarily getting the feedback back on where your feet are at in relation to your body. If this is something that occurred like when she was going to wash her hair and she closed her eyes and that's when she's basically lost her balance, it's a good possibility that is neuropathy, because as we lose those sensory nerves in the sole of the foot, we will become more dependent on our depth perception to maintain our balance. People that do have neuropathy should always make sure that they have night lights on in their house, because you should never really actually be truly in the dark. You need to have that awareness of where objects and things are so that you can maintain your balance from that aspect. But again, there's a number of different things that can cause these things, but do realize that it is estimated between 26 to 39.2% of people over the age of 65 are going to develop neuropathy.
Here's a TikTok. He said, I am in the Albuquerque area. He said, I think I've been suffering from neuropathy, but the doctors say there's nothing that can be done for it. I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life. Would I need to come into your office to see if I really do have neuropathy and if you can help me at all?
It'd be great if you could, but I'll tell you, we can actually do this similar to how we're doing this through a Zoom call.
Okay.
You can just call us. We can actually send out a testing kit and go over from that aspect, so that I have patients spread out throughout the country and actually throughout the world. So, though I say that vaguely, I have 3 people in other countries across the sea, but that's it. But I have a lot in Canada and northern part of the United States because I'm in Arizona. We have snowbirds. So I'm dealing with those patients in various different parts of the country, and we can do that over the phone or over the Zoom. Basically, the thing that you need to understand is that the treatment that we do is actually done at home. And so once we determine that what we do is actually going to be a benefit to you, then we'll instruct you on what you need to do to get the neuropathy under control and keep it that way.
This is Craig wants to know. He said, I can't believe there's finally a show about neuropathy. I've read so much about it. You seem like you know so much. Thank you for educating us. My question is do you have to go and do your treatment long term? And what is your percentage of success?
Yes, you need to do it long term. My percentage of success since 2020, I claim 98%.
Wow.
How that came about is advances in technology and advances in my own knowledge on knowing who I can and can't help. Because like I said, I've been doing this for a little over 18 years. My 98% success rate is actually based off the fact that I sometimes still get it wrong. And so I actually have a buyback program. What we do is not covered by insurance. It is totally out of pocket. And so if we screwed up somewhere along the line and made a misdiagnosis, that if you're not getting better within 6 months, I actually will buy back the equipment that you have bought. And the reason that I say that I have a 98% success rate is less than 2% have ever exercised that option.
Wow. Someone just asked, does Medicare not cover this either?
No, Medicare does not. The only thing that Medicare actually pays for, and this is something you need to realize, and that because there are clinics out there that do advertise that insurance will pay for their neuropathy treatment. But the only thing that Medicare and insurance will actually pay for is physical therapy and medications. And so anything else that is being done is not truly being paid for by Medicare. A lot of patients have expressed to me that they've gone into clinics at times and asked and been told that basically their copay is going to be 40%, even though they have a primary and a secondary insurance. And basically what it is that there are still things that they're doing that insurance just is not going to pay for. And the problem that you have with that is that neuropathy is not curable. So that if you start in a clinic like that, you will continue to keep going to the clinic to maintain your neuropathy. Insurance max out on things. So they're not going to be always paying for everything for the rest of your life. That's not how insurance works. They have maximums. And so at some point in time, good possibility that you're going to find that you're actually paying 100% of the care at that time.
This is from Sherry in Flagstaff. I saw you were going to be on today, Dr. Sarge. You helped my mother-in-law out, and she is doing wonderful. I just wanted to tell people that for maybe some of those non-believers. I'm curious, is it dangerous to drive a car if you have neuropathy?
The average neuropathy sufferer is 3 times more likely to get in an auto accident than someone in their same age group that does not have neuropathy. Basically, you lose proprioception. You lose awareness of where your feet are actually at on the pedals. My mom, the story that she told is that she was going to run uptown one day. She went out to start the car and the engine raced, and she would have sworn her foot was on the brake. And think about this, that we have different times you've seen on the news over the years where somebody drove into a building, and what's the first thing out of their mouth? I swear my foot was on the brake. The problem is they have no idea where their foot was at. If you're with somebody that's starting to have some problems, what you're going to notice is they don't accelerate smoothly. They don't brake smoothly. That you kind of get a jerking motion because they just don't know how much pressure to put on the pedals to make them work.
This is from Norman on TikTok. Great show. Glad there's someone out there smart enough to offer a show like this. I'm curious, if you are a diabetic, does that have anything to do with neuropathy?
Yes. When basically diabetes is the number one cause of neuropathy. When someone's blood sugar goes high, particularly if you end up with an A1C, a controlled diabetic in this country is considered having an A1C of 7.0. But if we start to have blood sugars that where when you test, you're in the 180s, 190s, 200 for an extended period of time, what ends up happening when our blood sugar goes up is the sugar actually attaches to the red blood cell, and it changes the chemistry of the red blood cell to the point where it doesn't want to release the oxygen. And so this is the reason that I earlier had mentioned that we'll release the oxygen that is available in the more vital areas. And then as we get farther away from the heart and the lungs, it doesn't release it. And so that loss of oxygen will actually starve the nerve endings and starve the nerves and cause those cells to actually start to die off. They go deeper into the tissue and then they fire on their own. And that's the reason that you get the symptoms. And so, yes, diabetes is the number one cause. They estimate that 60% of diabetics are going to develop neuropathy. And the thing is that what you're basically told is get your blood sugar under control. But if you already have neuropathy, that's not going to change what you're already experiencing. But the treatments that we do have will. And particularly if you've gotten your blood sugar under control, we have a very high, that our success rate would be 100% at that time.
Okay. We're here with Dr. Patrick Sars. We're talking about neuropathy, and Dr. Sars has been treating people for over the last, I was talking about, we're getting questions that I've never seen before. This is one of them. This is bad. She wants to know, how does autonomic neuropathy cause bloating and gut mobility problems?
Okay. Autonomic neuropathy.
With it too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Tongue's not working. Apparently getting stuck to the roof of my mouth. But basically what we're dealing with there is a little separate thing of dealing with neuropathy. It isn't, and that one at this particular time, there really isn't much that unfortunately can be done. What ends up happening is that the autonomic nervous system is made up of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And basically what we're dealing with is that all the things that occur without us thinking about it. Breathing, our heart beating, the things that keep us alive where we don't actually have to concentrate on it. And what can end up happening is that the nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system actually get compromised to some degree and start working irregularly. Unfortunately, to be quite honest with you, I do not have a treatment for that. And I don't know if anyone does other than possible medications from that aspect.
I was saying, we've never had a question like that before. Dr. Sars, your show goes by so fast. Tell people how they can reach you.
Well, my phone number's been at the bottom. That my phone number is 480-556-1358. Website that you go to is azneuropathycenter.com. And we do answer the phone from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. Outside of office hours, if you call, you will get me. My patients treat themselves at home. And so sometimes they have questions, and I want to make sure that they continue the treatment. And the best way to do that is make sure I'm available for them to get the answer to the question. So if you call my office number, we will answer the phone. And like I said, outside of office hours, that someone's going to be me.
Dr. SARS, you're amazing. We're so lucky to have you. Dr. SARS is with us every month. Plus, we replay his show. So we actually run his show twice a month. Dr. SARS, thank you so much. We will see you next month.
All right, Steve. Take care. Be safe.
Dr. Patrick SARS. Folks, I'm telling you, if you or a family member might be going through neuropathy, hey, with Dr. SARS, at least you've got a chance. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.